Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, we're going to get into today's show in just a few moments, but first, I want to invite you to join the Noti Gang. What is that? Well, it's the club of folks who have turned on all of their notifications. We've gotten a bunch of new subscribers recently, and after you subscribe, there's a cool feature where you can turn on your notifications, and once you click that bell, it's going to give you a couple of different options. Select all. What does that mean? Every time we publish a video, you will get a notification on your phone, on your tablet, whatever, when we publish that video. So if you haven't subscribed, first do that, then turn on your notifications to all. That way you guys never miss a video here on the Chiefs Report. On today's Chiefs Report, we're going to take a look at Mel Kiper's draft grades for Kansas City. Welcome in. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Kiper did his annual grades for all 32 NFL teams and gave the Chiefs a B, despite most analysts giving Kansas City a higher grade. A lot of A grades out there around the NFL for Kansas City. And his main reasoning to why it wasn't a higher grade was simply because he thought the Chiefs should have drafted one more wide receiver. And look, the Chiefs could have drafted two receivers in this draft, but that being the reason to go from potentially an A to a B feels a little bit drastic. Here's what Kiper had to say. We'll kind of break it down into chunks of the draft here. This is focusing on round one. They ended up hitting on each of those needs with their first three picks. Trent McDuffie at 21 isn't a ball hawk, but he was tremendous over the past 2 seasons at Washington. He could also play in the slot. George Karlaftis at 30 is my 6th-ranked defensive end, and he fits Kansas City's 4-3 scheme perfectly. Expect him to produce a little more than he did in college. I love the Chiefs' first round. We all thought, they're going to trade up, get Jameson Williams. And look, that would have been all fun and all. But receivers started going early. Brett Veach stayed patient. He moved up for Trent McDuffie at 21. He keeps that other first-round pick at 30, gets George Karlaftis. I thought Kansas City did really well in the first round of the NFL draft. You look at McDuffie here, I think he'll plug in and be one of your starting corners. I expect L'Jarius Sneed to stay in that nickel slot role. Rashad Fenton will be your other outside corner. The beauty of this cornerback room is all three of your starters can play outside or slot, so they can be versatile. They can move around if the Chiefs need them to. Now, for Karlaftis, I expect him to start as well, at least as of now. We'll see if the Chiefs add a veteran like a Jadeveon Clowney or bring back a Melvin Ingram, and if that's the case, Karlaftis could be more of a rotation guy, at least early on in his rookie season, but I think he's good enough to start as a rookie if you need him to. Both these guys should start, and when you're picking in the first round, that's what you want. You want guys who can come in and start, if not be really big impact players right away, and I think that will be the case for both Trent McDuffie and for George Karlaftis. Who will have the bigger impact in 2022 out of the 2 first-round picks? Type K for George Karlaftis, type M for Trent McDuffie. I think it'll be McDuffie, but we'll see what happens in the end. Let us know what you guys think on this one. And if you want to get a jersey from either of the Chiefs' first-round picks, you can do so right now at the link below, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Now, McDuffie and Karlaftis, obviously, they're not both going to wear number 1. Once they finalize their number and once the jerseys get in with their jersey numbers, they'll ship out to you. So basically you're pre-ordering them right now. You're getting first in line, and then once those numbers get finalized and the jerseys get made, boom, they're off in the mail from our partners, Fanatics. Get in line early because a lot of folks are already lining up. Chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. McDuffie, Karlaftis, they're both available right there. Mel Kiper took a look at Skyy Moore here, so we'll break that down. Skyy Moore at 54 has a bit of hill, talking about Tyreek Hill and him, as Moore is 5'10 with huge hands, and he can fly. I call him the most underrated player in the draft, and I wouldn't have been surprised if he snuck into round 1. I actually thought that could happen as well, especially 6 receivers going in the top 18. Skyy Moore was terrific last year for Western Michigan, almost 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. I think he will have an immediate impact in the NFL. I plugged him in as wide receiver 3. This kind of feels like you know how in the NBA now it's positionless basketball. I think this is ranking lists wide receiver depth chart. I don't know if you have a true number one, but I think you have 3 or 4 guys who are in that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 realm between Juju, Hardman, Skyy Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think they're all going to play a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation. We'll see if Josh Gordon and Darius Fontaine, Cordell Powell, and these other guys work their way in as well. But I expect Skyy Moore to produce quickly. I think he'll get a lot of snaps. I think he'll get a lot of opportunities, and maybe he does become this team's number one wide receiver. I wouldn't expect that right away, but I also don't think you have a true number one, so expect a lot of rotating and expect a lot of playing time for Skyy Moore. What was the best value pick for Kansas City? Mel Kiper called Skyy Moore the most underrated player in the NFL draft. So what do you think was the best value pick for the Chiefs this year? Let us know in the comments. Mel Kiper said this about some of the next guys. By the way, Leo Chenal, that could have been one of the best value picks. He said Chenal could challenge to start at middle linebacker. He'll thump ball carriers. Cornerback Joshua Williams is raw, but at 6'3", he's the type of day 3 pick I don't mind. Darian Kinnard at 145. Played tackle in college, but I think he can move inside for the Chiefs. We'll kind of go one by one here. The Chiefs needed a third linebacker. Leo Chenal can come in and be that. Now, he's not a Sam linebacker. He's more of that middle linebacker that we're talking about. So you look at the depth chart. Just going to label it LB1, LB2, LB3. Doesn't mean specific Mike, Will, or Sam roles. Chiefs don't run a lot of 3 linebacker sets anyway. Usually they sit in nickel, so I think these 3 guys will rotate. Nick Bolton and Willie Gay will be the primary guys, but Chenal will play a lot as well, at least in my opinion. You needed a third linebacker. He fills that void. Darian Kinnard was a steal in the 5th round. And by the way, Brett Veach told Kinnard on the phone that, hey, right tackle, could be an opening. So Kinnard could get an opportunity to start at right tackle. Now, I'll keep Lucas Niang in there, but remember, he's recovering from that torn patellar tendon. So that job could be up for grabs. The beauty of Kinnard, he's got guard tackle flexibility. He can play inside, be that kind of, number 3 guard behind Smith and Tooney, and get an opportunity to play if one of those guys gets hurt. But I think if I'm Darian Kinnard, if I'm trying to get instant playing time, I'm trying to, impress this offseason while Niang is hurt and give myself a chance to start at right tackle and protect Patrick Mahomes. To circle back to Kiper's B grade, he said he liked all the picks. He said he enjoyed it all, but he lowered it to a B for not drafting a second receiver? That's a joke. Yeah, you could have taken a second receiver, but you got 4 really good receivers now. 4. And you might sign another one in free agency. You filled the need at corner. You added a linebacker. You got a nice lineman in the 5th round. You also added George Karlaftis at edge. If anything, he should have said not getting a second edge rusher is what would lower it. Because I think if you were going to go 2 at edge or 2 at receiver, I think edge would have made more sense. This was an A draft by Brett Veach. He did a fantastic job. Go subscribe to the channel and go check out my Chiefs draft grades because I gave it an A and I gave more analysis on every single pick. What was your grade for the Chiefs' entire draft? I gave it an A. Kiper gave it a B. Where do you guys fall in on that one? A, B, C, D, or F? Get your grades in down below. And just to recap the entire draft for Kansas City, 10 picks in total. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis for the first round picks. Day 2 was Skyy Moore. Brian Cook out of Cincinnati, who Kiper didn't talk about, but I think he could be a sneaky good player. Leo Chenal, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. Josh Williams out of Fayetteville State. Darian Kinnard, one of the best value picks in the draft, in my opinion. And then a trio of day 3 picks. Jalen Watson, the cornerback out of Wazoo. Isaiah Pacheco, who has good speed, the running back out of Rutgers. And then Najee Johnson, the cornerback out of Marshall. That was the draft. I thought it was a hell of a draft by Brett Veach. All right, we're going to sign off here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us here for another video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Rumble, and we'll see you soon here on the channel.